Just a show of hands, how many of you actually do believe your ability to communicate is critical for what you want to do in life? If you look around the room, everyone had their hand up, okay? And just humor me just one more time, just in giving me some feedback here. Before I start teaching communication skills with you all, what benefits would any of you come up with to be better in the area of communication? Go ahead, Ruben.
Be a better listener.
Be a better listener. Who thinks listening is pretty important in communication? Great. Any others? Who said that? Oh, okay. Mike. Who agrees with Mike? You'll get more sales. Who wants to get more sales? All right. So for me, it's not about making money. It's about having a living. We've got parents with their kids here. All right. Money makes the world go round. Like you've come along here. What did Raoul just say? It's mutual benefit. Spend your money here. They've let you have this place. Correct. All right. Any other actually, being that we've got people from the educational world as well, what benefits do you guys get being better in communication?
Create solutions and close gaps.
Create solutions and close gaps. And that comes from the principle, correct? Create solutions, close gaps. Okay. So you get a bunch of benefits. Now, when we look at reputation, trust, credibility, are these all very important characteristics that you want someone to have when you're going to work with them, correct? Or you're going to listen to them, as Ruben said? Watch this. Raoul just introduced me. Some of you I've already met and given some little bit of advice where I can with abundance. Do you guys have to know a bunch about me to feel like I've got these things? Or do you all have faith in Raoul, Ruben, Mike, that I must have these things? Like, so we have to know stuff about me, or we all have faith in those individuals? What is it? Faith. No, but so watch this. You know what's funny? Niche is one person said both, and her husband's the one hosting it. I use this as a lesson for you guys. So watch this. Have any of you noticed a theme so far? I've been up here. What have I done so far whilst I've been up here? Jennifer, you said asking questions. All right. Since Niche said she needs a little bit of both, some of you said you have faith. All I would do is I would show, this is what my phone looks like after a virtual talk, where my phone blows up with people saying, Jamie, I really loved what you had to share. I want your guidance. He's not here yet, but he's going to get the limelight. Do any of you know Kevin Johnson? Okay. Kevin, Kevin, thankfully my camera people are here who deserve a massive shout out. They capture the best testimonials.
I gotta meet this dude. I gotta talk to him, and I don't even need to really. I don't need to know your prices or whatever. I need you on my team.
Okay, so when Kevin came into my life, literally I gave a talk in Raleigh. All right, not as good as Fayetteville, Raleigh. All right, and whilst I was there, afterwards, I literally said, "So what was one thing I shared that stood out to you?" He goes, "Are you Mike Glaspie's coach?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You don't have to say anything else." All right, as a lesson for you guys. Niche, am I good in credibility now? The fact that, okay, so what? No, but I'm going to make this a lesson for you guys. How many of you have actually seen a speaker speak, and for the first 15, 20 minutes, they're going on about themselves, and this is my expertise, and this is why you should listen? You've all seen one of those? Yeah, I call that ego, all right? My goal is to share very little, in fact, nothing about myself to prove we should be irrelevant in the sales process. All right, so I make it a lesson for you guys right from the get-go. I'm not going to share, I take my clients to Milan, Italy. I'm not going to share, I help clients get a business on a golf course. I'm not going to share, this is Private Money Club clients, and I put a smiley face after people's name on my phone. I'm not going to share, that's Kevin Johnson, I made him a better parent, a father. All right, who agrees your personal life is greatly affected by your ability to communicate? I get way more fulfillment having someone just go on their Facebook and say, without me asking them, dude, I'm a better dad. All right. Look, on Kendrick, on Father's Day, hey man, keep being awesome dad, bro. Your lesson extended into my personal life. I helped him raise $300,000 on a phone call. All right. You'll see some familiar faces here. That's a really handsome looking dude right there who's a client of mine that I help him when he's speaking, how to present, he does talks. I don't need to share. This is what EXP looks like for me. Actually, 2 years ago, EXP looks like with smiley face clients in the realtor world. That's Edward Jones. Lingo, some of you have met Lingo. If you haven't, you're in for a treat if you ever do meet the guy. And I helped him secure a $7.95 million listing. Yesenia, she happens to be someone important in this room. All right, and I helped her with having a phone call pep talk to close her at $865,000. Hey, I get to do, that was, now, Yesenia, please, just for the purpose of the camera, say, I did not know that you were coming in here at that moment. Okay. Mara Ballard, someone I met in a room like this, she came on board as a client. She ended up getting me a speaking engagement. I was teaching fraudulent examiners how to get witness confessions using body language. I'm making this as a lesson to go through, and how many of you are former military, like in this room? Okay. Would you say if I've been invited to speak at the Pentagon, that would be a pretty big deal? All right, January 16th, Pentagon. And I'm a complete nobody, by the way, in America. Ruben and people are going to put me on the map, but I'm not. I like living in the world of, if you don't know me, you're not going to know that kind of space. And I'll make it the first lesson for you guys. The most amateur play people can do is the overshare. All right, so I'll give you an example of conscious communication or unconscious communication, I would call it. If you go into a meeting, and lots of people do this, especially in the realtor world, they go into a house to try and get a listing and they start with these words. Hey, let me start by just telling you about myself. Let me start by telling you about my brokerage. Let me start by telling you about, if you start your dialogue that way, who is doing all the talking? You are. Who should be doing all the talking? They should be. Tell you what, I'll make a promise, and I label the word promise as a dangerous word because you have to deliver on a promise, all right? And I will deliver on this. Let's say I teach you a one-off question, and you can ask people a one-off question, and they start selling themselves on your services without you telling them anything. Who would say this was a worthwhile 40 minutes to listen into that conversation? I will share with you one-off question you can ask people, and they will start selling themselves. And it doesn't matter what the scenario is for you. Everyone, you get to see the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Kevin Johnson. He was on TV a minute ago, all right? So, now, I am 47 years of age. It's likely some of the kids in here might even know this, all right? What movie is this from? Karate Kid. Be safe from who does not know who's never seen the Karate Kid? It's okay, you've all seen it. Okay, so what is Daniel being taught here by Mr. Miyagi? Wax on, wax off, right? And when he's learning wax on, wax off, wasn't he like, Mr. Miyagi, what has this got to do with, karate? Hey, can we agree by the end of the movie, did it have everything to do with karate, right? So by the end of my workshop, you're going to have a bunch of wax on, wax off moments. Here is why. I'm going to share with you how I get my kids to do the things that I want them to do without telling them to do it and make it their idea. Who would like to learn that? Oh, okay, you're definitely going to love this. I might even show you how I help male clients of mine get dates on Bumble without telling the young lady anything about themselves, just using questions. Usually when that slide goes up, any single fellas, they start taking snapshots of the screen. So we can agree communication affects your personal life and your professional life, all right? My belief is you can't be a complete amateur at home life in your communication and suddenly become the best of professionals in your professional life in communication. Some of you have asked where I'm from originally, all right, in this room. I am formerly from London, England, all right? And I've been told I can swear and it sounds polite. I will not swear here today in front of you guys. And I've kept my accent because it makes me sound really smart. But I am a proud American now. Yay, America. All right. I drive a truck in Florida and I even rented a truck here. All right. And I'm a proud coffee drinker. All right. Shout out just for a random place. If you want to drink coffee, definitely support Miller's Brew. Not just because it's my namesake. All right. They are amazing as people. I even gave a shout out on my Facebook. I felt compelled because of their mission and who they look to help. So definitely, I felt, who agrees there's always a classy act when you can lift other people's businesses in that way? Great. I'm going to set this up for success. My son and I, we love anything to do with Marvel, all right? All right, but I've not turned into Captain America as much as I love America. And the reason I share that is, can we just set this talk up for success? I'll share a lot with you. I can't teach everything that you're ever going to face in 40 minutes. Can we just agree to that notion? All right, great. Okay, I don't always do this, but some people love me to do this. Who would think it was pretty cool if I read someone's mind in this room? They would think it was really like, okay, Cedric, everyone give Cedric a round of applause. Step up here, Cedric. Okay, Cedric, we're going to have some fun here. I'm going to read your mind. Now, just go with me on this. Not a card trick, but think of a deck of cards, okay? Now, as I take you through this, here's the only deal. You have to say your answers very fast without jumping ahead. So you can't jump ahead, but you've got to go real quick. You can't think of your answer, can't hesitate, can't breathe. Just blurt your answer out as I take you through this really fast. So we open up a brand new deck of cards, and you and me, we're going to play a game, okay? So when you play a game of cards, you remove the jokers immediately, right? Going real fast without jumping ahead. Once you remove those jokers, you've got two colors. You've got black, you've got red. Pick one.
Black.
The red left over, you've got hearts, you've got diamonds.
Diamonds.
Of the diamonds, you've got numbers, you've got face.
Face.
Of the face, you've got the jack, the queen, the king. Quick. Okay. Now, you said the king of diamonds. Now, did you know, all right, that I was going to do that beforehand? No. All right. Everyone give Cedric a round of applause. You can go and take a seat. Now, that is not a trick, okay? Here's the way, my flavor of teaching a conversation, and you guys are going to love me for this. Every interaction you ever go into with someone, you want to go into the interaction with these words in your mind. I agree with you. Every interaction you ever go into with somebody else, you want to make sure you're ending that conversation with the words, I agree with you. Because when you can end a conversation with the words, I agree with you, can we agree that you've made it the other person's idea? Do you see where I'm going with this? All right. And I'm starting to share this as how many realized, like, you know, obviously you've got kids in here, so you can understand the notion we crawl and then we walk and then we can run. I'm not saying this as a soundbite. I've become really clear about certain lessons I teach. And one thing that I don't usually share in front of a room is all a sale is, in its rawest form, is an agreement between two people to think the same way around the same thing. Do you see how, all it is do we agree to think around, watch this. How many of you agree communication is critical? Okay, we think around the same thing. Then I'm just going to teach you how to evoke emotion in the other person. Here's how you evoke emotion. Do we agree this? Okay, yes. Why would you say so? And now I'm going to get you to start telling me why it's important. All right. You could say, Timberly, someone coming to the school, could we agree that not all schools are created equally? The person in front of you would be like, yes, okay. What would make it the best school experience? Now the parent is telling you what would make it the great, and you're just checking the boxes off in your head on the things that they say they value that you know you can provide for someone. So we'll get there, but okay, so everyone is going to answer this, all right, just for energy in the room and just because I can't do this lesson justice. If you've seen me speak before, do not answer this, all right? I get better in my communication, my ability to sell and my ability to communicate because I get to do this. I get to teach you guys how to communicate. Let's say I teach you something today, and let's say, like an Isaac, you're like, oh, that was really good. I'm going to take notes on it, all right? Or you're going to get your phone out and put notes in your phone. In a one-word response, all of you at once, what is something you should all be doing to get better at something? Practice. Right. I proved a point. Okay. Kevin, all right, just put you on the spot here a little bit. Okay. What is the thing that they should be doing to get better at something? Teaching. Okay. Everyone's like, no, yeah, teaching. Okay. But what did everyone answer to me? I said I can't do this lesson justice. I asked what are the benefits you guys get being better in communication. Ruben came up with the answer, listening. And I can't do this justice. You guys are not listening to your clients, and your clients are not listening to you. I'll give you an example. I have to do a disclaimer now. I am not a officially affiliated individual with Edward Jones, for example, all right, from financial and securities world. I am an external coach that thousands of them have hired over the course of the last 5 years to teach them stuff. Here's how Edward Jones came into my life. Young man knocks on my front door. First words out of his mouth. Excuse me, I'm not here to sell you something. Now watch this, guys. If someone says the words to you, I'm not here to sell you, what are you hearing them say to you? You better sell me something. If someone says, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not good at sales, they're basically telling you, I'm about to sell you, I'm just going to be very lousy at doing that. Have you ever had someone say, I hope I'm not being an inconvenience, all right? You're like, do you know what? You weren't being one, but now that you mention the word. So there's all kinds of positive and negative connotations that I can't go through with you in its entirety today, but I promise you, you might be saying certain things to people and not realizing where you're taking their mindset in your conversations. All right, I wasn't going to do this. How are we doing on time? We're doing good so far? Like, we're all good? All right. You guys have probably seen me do the negotiation game, all right? I don't really do it live in front of audiences. Who would think it was good to learn how to negotiate at a higher level? It can't be Cedric again. All right. Janice, if you can step up here, give Janice a round of applause. Now, can someone have their phone on a stopwatch? And we're going to play a game, okay? And you're going to get 30 seconds. I'm going to get 30 seconds. All right, you're going to get to go first. Okay. Here's the rules of the game. Imagine there is $10 that's right here, $10, and you have to negotiate within 30 seconds how much of that $10 that you think you should get. Now, the rules of the game are this. You can't just say, Jamie, you get 5, I get 5. That's way too easy. In fact, let's make it even a little bit more challenging. You can't just say, Jamie, I get 6, you get 4. All right, as a simple exact, okay? You can't say, Jamie, I'll take 3, you take 7, I'll give you 2 after the game, because that's still 5 and 5. Mm-hmm. And you can't say, let's take the $10 and go and buy dinner or invest somewhere. So, and the last rule, if we don't come to an agreement in 30 seconds, both of us walk away with 0. So we are incentivized that we have to try and come away with something, okay? Okay. So who's got the stopwatch going? Rule, okay. I will give you a hint and a tip. 30 seconds is not long, all right? You don't get a chance to do a lot in 30 seconds. And the lesson of the game is more important than the game itself, all right? Especially, how many of you are realtors in this room? You're going to love me because you're going to see where this game applies to your industry more than any other one. Okay, so Janice, your 30 seconds starts now.
All right, based on all the rules, I feel that I should get $8 and you should get $2.
Agreed. Okay, stop. Okay, 6. It took 6. Oh, okay, that's fine. Get with it, Raoul. All right, like you got your wife and kid here. Come on. Okay. All right. So my turn. If we reset. Okay. So my turn to go. Janice, it's always nice to have win-win situations in life, right?
I agree.
How about on this occasion, I get $5.01 and you get $4.99?
Okay.
Okay. Agreed. Okay. Watch that. Still within 30 seconds. Give Janice a round of applause. All right. Thank you. Now, watch this, guys. Remember, a few things. One, you're never going to get just 30 seconds on the clock, all right, to negotiate with someone. So understand, I know that. But there's a lot of lessons in this game. Sometimes I get in front of a room, and to be fair to Janice, usually if I ever have a room of people do the game, all the men are like, I got 10. They're so excited themselves. I'm like, you don't realize the lesson of the game, all right, is more important than the game. So Janice got 8, I got 2 in her situation. And I just agree. What she didn't realize is I was going to agree with whatever she suggested. Imagine in negotiation, if every time she got 8 and someone got 2, would they want to keep negotiating with her? No. So she gets to win one time in life. Are you guys with me? All right. Now, here's what I showed Janice too, and you guys. Let's say she said, she'll take 2, I'll take 8, so she walks away with something. Here's what she's telling me. If she would have known how to negotiate better, she wouldn't have left $2.99 on the table. Do you see how, all right, by creating a more winning situation. So a couple lessons. One is, you won't remember the question I asked maybe. Does anyone remember, actually, pop quiz, the question I asked Janice when starting my negotiation? Go ahead, Ruben.
believe it was, do you believe that life is better when everything's fair or something like that?
So I love this. So all I said was a question. Hey, do you like win-win situations? Now watch this. If someone says no to that, do you really want to go into business with them? Right, now watch this. As realtors, for the realtors in the room, especially Fayetteville, even in Orlando, where we've got like 25,000 for Aura as realtors. I don't know how many thousands there are within Fayetteville. But is there every chance that you could be a realtor representing the buyer and you've got a realtor representing the seller? Could those roles be reversed within the same town? All right, well, what if one leaves the other one feeling bitter? Are you gonna forget about that, or are you gonna remember that?
Never.
Are you guys getting the lesson I'm teaching you guys right now? People always remember the way you leave them feeling. The question you ask to start your dialogue is going to be critical in the outcome that you're going to get to a place of agreement. I will give you examples with my kids momentarily where I'm like, you weren't thinking around things like that. And it's not good that the kids are in here because they're going to learn how to sell you on things, all right? Now, I don't teach script. None of you need to develop a British accent, although I've been told that if I created a course teaching people how to learn a British accent, it would be very successful, I'm sure. There's no script, but there's a framework to your conversations. So the way I start out is building rapport. Who can understand building rapport is critical? Who wants to throw out, Isaac, how would you define building rapport?
Gaining someone's trust.
Okay, gain someone's trust. Any other different answers? Establish credibility. Ruben? Okay, so I already kind of knew that Ruben was going to say finding commonality. That's why I didn't go him first. All right. Can you notice we got a whole room and I asked and 3 people came up with 3 different answers. As a coach, I'm not a do it my way. I'm kind of like a clarity coach. If I teach you something, you're like, that makes a lot of sense, you'll implement it. Does that resonate for all of you? Building rapport, just like Ruben says in my book, is I'm going to make people the same as me. All right? You need to make people feel like they're the same as you. Here is why. People will buy and do business with people more likely when they feel something where they feel the same as them. So watch this. Does anyone remember the first question that came out my mouth where I got every hand in this room raised? Go ahead, Jennifer. Similar, close enough. So here's what I do. And you need to use the same 3 words. If I want to make someone the same as me, I'm implementing the words you like me into a question. So I just turn around, hey guys, before I start teaching, how many of you like me believe your ability to communicate is critical for what you want to achieve? I'm now getting buy-in from the whole room. All right, we're all the same around the topic I'm going to talk about. How many of you want to bring on a client in one meeting? It's very easy. It's a lot easier to do when you build your rapport specifically about what you do for a living. I'll give you an example. Realtors, you should turn around to be like, are you like me in understanding not all realtors are created equally? That's a great first question to ask a potential client. Here's why. You might be asking for more commission than somebody else. If you start with the whole notion, we agree someone's not created equally, can you see where very easily you can elevate that play? Jennifer's not. If Kimberly was here, she charges a higher commission than a lot of other realtors. All right. And she said that I helped her. Jake, funny enough, was saying, I'm being very direct. All right. And Kimberly was someone who says, Jamie, you give me finesse so I can be my glorious self. None of you need to change your personalities as a result of what you do, but you do need to garner understanding from the people in front of you. But building rapport is a critical play. I love that I get to share this. Have any of you ever heard of the term mirroring? All right, that's okay. This is an extreme version of mirroring, all right, that I do. Good afternoon, exclamation mark, space, upside down, question mark. The ending, upside down, question mark, thank you, period, upside down, question mark. I had to Google how you do an upside down question mark, but she said good afternoon, so I said good afternoon. All right, exclamation mark, space, upside down, question mark. The ending, upside down, question mark, thank you, period, upside down, question mark. If I had Raul look at the text messages, Fred, between me and him earlier on today, he would see that I mirrored him. All right, if Ruben picks out his phone and he's going to be like, I am mirroring him. I always am practicing what I preach to you guys. It's not about changing your. Do not change who you are as an individual. Do not like it. Don't become someone completely different. But if someone says hello to you, can you say hello back to them? Because here's the deal: if they say hello and you say hi, you're now different from them. If they say use the word children, use the word kids, you're different from them. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's some subtle things. You guys are going to laugh. This is what I call the predictability play. I have clients like Lingo. They send me black hand emojis. I'm not sending them black hand emojis back. All right? I said, you're
Should try.
I'm going to teach you some of what I just did there, where isn't it nice to create predictability with the right clients? You know you're bringing on the right people, resonating with people. It doesn't happen by accident. All right? Now, these are not my kids. I know a lot of you are excited how to get your kids to do things. When I Google image unhappy looking kids, that's what came up. All right. So how many of you ever tried to feed your kids vegetables? All right. Okay. Have your kids ever turned around and said, I don't like said vegetable, broccoli, what have you? Are you asking these two questions of your kids? Most people are doing this. Remember I said you can't be an amateur at home and then suddenly a professional? A lot of parents will turn around to their kids and say, how do you know you don't like it? And the kid will respond, I just know. And then the second question they ask is, have you ever tried it? And you say, no. Are you any closer to the kid eating the vegetables based on those two questions? No. So remember I said a sale in its rawest form is to agree, to think around something? Now, I believe that it's more imperative if we want to get the person to do what we want them to do, we're doing with ethics, integrity, it's okay to take a little bit longer. No one said we had to rush through scenarios. So in my house, the best way ever to steer a conversation, all right, from a psychology perspective, is a multiple choice question. All right, if you ever face an objection, you want to use a multiple choice question. Mothers, in fact, are amazing. Women are better salespeople than men. I've got a slide about that. All right, here's what a mother will do, a good mum in communication. Do you want to take the bath at this time or this time? All right, do you, like it's a multiple choice, all right, and it's like the same answer. Here's what I do with the broccoli, let's say. I'm like, kids, do you think daddy feeds you healthy because I do or don't care about you? And they will say, because you care. And then I'll say, well, what benefit would you come up with for trying the broccoli? And my kids might be like, I don't know. Now, I know they won't listen to me, but what kids will listen to is when I go, Alexa, what are the benefits of eating broccoli? And now Alexa goes off on a tangent. It talks about these functions. And then I will ask my kids, what one thing stood out that Alexa just shared? And my daughter will say, the thing about the brain, Dad. I'm like, well, why is that? And now my daughter starts telling me why she wants a good brain. And then I get to say, well, what are your thoughts now? And she goes, I should probably at least try it. And I get to say, I agree with you. Are you guys getting it? Now, that was a wax on, wax off moment when it comes to realtors or real estate investors, whatever it is, it's asking better questions. Someone you don't want to be, I almost feel bad saying this because if I start getting out these videos out to a lot of people, I'm about to make a comment that I hope doesn't come and bite me, but do not be LA Fitness sales guy, all right? I used to work out in LA Fitness, and here's what I would do for giggles. At the end of a workout, I'd say, hey, I'm thinking of checking out Planet Fitness down the street. Do all you guys have competition? If you're with EXP, there's Keller Williams and all these other, it's not like no one has competition. Just to see what the LA Fitness guy would say in the response, and here's what they would say. Oh, they don't have the swimming pool. They don't have the basketball court. They don't have the racquetball court. They don't have the aerobics room with the punching bags. And all I would say back to him is, well, now you've got me thinking I'm paying too much money, for my membership. Based on the LA Fitness guy's response, guys, why would I think I'm paying too much money for my membership? I don't use any of those things. Are you guys ready? Now, Ruben probably doesn't, not probably, I would bet doesn't do this. Mike, you won't do this. Do you know how many people with EXP I've seen do this? They don't give you stock options. They don't have this. They don't have that. Do you know how many EXP people I've come across where they had like $260,000 in stock options they didn't even know about, meaning they don't care? Am I accurate?
They call it EXPing more people. That's what they call it.
Do you know one thing realtors do? They say these words. Remember I said, we're not going to try and sell you something? We're not going to try and recruit you. We're not going to try and recruit you. You are better off, if you want a lesson that I'll teach you, you're better off telling them, we are 100% going to look to recruit you. All right? Ruben can attest, earlier on, one of the first conversations I had with me, I'm absolutely going to be calling you next year. Think about this. How many of you actually want to work with high net worth individuals, luxury listings, and from a good standpoint, there's good people, nice people that you can work with. Wouldn't you believe they've been pitched to before? All right, so you're better off giving them praise. Well done. You don't get where you've got without going through this glorious thing called life. You're going to know what I'm about to do. In fact, being you're going to know why I'm about to ask you every question. All right, it's going to lower your resistance and make it easier for you to ask for the business when you do something like that. Just as an extra lesson for yourself. Don't be LA Fitness sales guy. Don't tell people what you bring to the table in a spew of statements, because what you're doing is you're trying to tell value. The whole world says, go and tell someone your value. I would teach you more, extract value. Find out, do they even want or value what it is as a characteristic? Does that make sense? Like if you've got X amount of years of experience, hey, I've got X amount of years of experience. Does that something that excites you or gives you any confidence? Get a yes, then you evoke more emotion by saying, just humor me, why? And then let them talk and sell themselves. Are you guys liking this stuff so far? Am I still good? All right. Women are better salespeople than men, hands down. Here's my theory behind it: emotional intelligence. I think it just comes down to the ability to listen. Ruben, I can talk for myself. Even though I sound really intelligent, it took to my 40s to become more emotionally intelligent, to understand, to ask my girlfriend, my wife, I never had this skill set. I was always logical. Problem, how do I fix it? Now it's more like, do you want me to listen just to listen, or do you want me to listen and provide a solution? I suddenly go up in estimation, all right? Women, will you attest that your men go up in estimation when they do that? Great, all right? For those you men who are not doing it, the women are attesting to that, so you should start. I didn't learn this till I was 29 years of age, all right? And this changed the goalpost for me. Whoever asks the questions is steering that conversation. All right. And I didn't learn it till 20. People aren't learning this stuff in schools, just like they're not learning financial literacy in schools, just like they're not learning emotional intelligence in schools. There are good questions, there are bad questions. Do not ask someone that you've never met before who you're trying to sell, how are you? All right. I'm not saying we care greatly about people. There's just better questions that you can ask to prove how you care. If you ask me, how are you? And you're trying to sell me something, I'm going to turn around back to you and go, do you really care? And you're going to say, yes. I'm like, in that case, I woke up, was it 6:51, Eugene, this morning? Oh, and I'll tell you what, getting out of bed this morning, what a nightmare. And we went to the gym, we got to the gym, and I'm going to go off on a complete tangent. I'm not saying beat yourself up if you ask the question, but just understand the question you ask can completely dictate that conversation. Are you all guys with me on that? All right. So test for realtors. All right. I did this on purpose for you guys, for sure. Any of you ever had a seller tell you, I think my house is worth X? Okay. What is the question, Raul, that you ask someone? I'm a seller. I think my home is worth X. What do you turn around and ask me?
Do you want to really sell your home?
That's actually a better question. That's a good one. No, that's better. Okay, what do 99.9% of realtors ask in that moment? How did you come up with that number? So I can say well done to Raul. Well done, but you had to think about it for a second there, all right?
You put me on the spot.
I did. Method to my madness. All right. Most realtors in a room will always say, how'd you come up with that price? And I'm here to share with you, who's the expert, you or the seller? And you are asking someone who's not the expert how they came up with a price point. And now you have a list. You have to listen to them and they get a chance to justify. Now, I'm not going to say there might be professional realtors who are sophisticated veterans who know what they're doing and they can ask that question and still get around it. But can we agree, for 97% of the realtor world, they're asking a question, they're never going to get to an agree. You can't say, I agree with you after that seller has gone off on a tangent. So you're having a battle with that person. So that's an example of a question I wouldn't be asking. Are you guys, is that clarity? Multiple choice questions. Someone ever asks you, what are the fees you charge? All right. Or what's the price before you even get started? You're going to like this. Someone ever says, what commission do you charge? You having a chance to share anything? Don't say it varies, because no one ever likes the it depends or it varies. I've not met anyone. I've studied and tested a lot of different responses in life to see what reactions happen. No one seems to like the word it depends. All right. What I would suggest you do is you quickly throw out a multiple choice question, and it would, what commission do you charge? Absolutely, I'll share my commission just very fast. Do you care just about the commission? Do you also care about the caliber of the realtor you're using? All right, is where I would steer that conversation. Because if they say just a commission, I would say I'm probably not going to be for you, and be okay with that. Can we agree? Like, all right. If they say, rightly so, of course they care about the caliber. Terrific. What would be one characteristic that you value more than any other? You can sell things based, by the way, on one thing. All right. Pop quiz for anyone who does know me. What is the one reason that I drive a truck?
Feel like a man.
Say that a bit louder, Kevin.
Feel like a man.
To feel like a man. That's a true story. That's why I bought a truck. Now, just an example, if I went on a test drive on the truck, the guy turned around to me once I got back to the dealership. He goes, well, does this truck make you feel like a man? I'm like, oh, does it? He goes, yeah, great. That'll be 70 grand, right? And I pay the 70 grand. Now, no, but I'm going to make this a lesson for you guys. Here's what he didn't do. This truck comes with this eco room, this boost, this scenario, this. Because here's what would happen. I would then turn around and say, do you have a truck on the lot for cheaper without those things? If you ask a client, what is one thing you value? Find out what they value. They'll pay you whatever you ask for that one thing. Do not afterwards say, hey, by the way, you get this, because they will turn around and say, can I get, if I don't want that, can I get less commission? As a lesson. Oh, all right, this is how I helped a male client get a date on Bumble using 3 questions. I'm fascinated that people don't know this, but before 29, I didn't know it, all right? It's called what, why, and how, okay? Mike, you're married. You're taking a snapshot of that next to you. I'm like thinking, I'm like thinking to myself, where are my single fellas that can take a picture? I'm seeing Mike right next to you, sending his ear, like taking this.
She started this conversation with motivate me.
Yes. Okay, look, I don't get to, can we understand? I don't get to control, I'm getting a crystal ball for the situations you guys face, but I can give you guys pep talk guidance at that time with regards to what the situation you're facing. But if you look, I came up with this question for him. If you could pick one characteristic that you want when choosing to go on a date with someone, what would it be? The young lady responded, chivalry. My client, my help goes, I believe chivalry is important. Why did you pick that characteristic? To evoke more emotion? She goes, it shows you how someone will treat you. And frankly, there are not too many men with chivalry. So my client, my help goes, so if I'm able to illustrate that chivalry is important in the way that I treat someone, clear, specific question. Would you be up for meeting up? The feeling part, the how part, would that feel like you've met someone rare? She goes, I like your response. The answer is yes. Now, what do most people do? They want to spew on, I'm going to do this for you, this for you, this for you, this for you. As a realtor, you could turn around, what is one characteristic you would want to see that you value the most when choosing a realtor? And body language, you can even go, me. They say, oh, communication. Oh, why did you pick that? Because the other 5 people we've spoken to have just been da-da-da. Okay, so if you know I can deliver on that, would that make you feel really good about hiring me? Yes. It's called What, Why, How. You can use it to get some. It's the only way I know categorically, in a predictable way, to get someone to an emotional space. Who's a loving dad in this room? All right. I can get you into tears. All right. Using what, why, and how.
Are we walking out?
But my point is, if you are genuinely loving and I get say be vulnerable for a moment, I just have to go through what, why, how, and elaborate on that scenario. Does that make sense? So, all right, who wants to learn the one-off question? You can ask someone, they start selling themselves. You haven't told them anything. All right. Does anyone remember the second question that came out of my mouth? That got Mike to say, I'll get more sales. That got Ruben to say, listening. Here's the good news. No one ever remembers the question, all right? No one will know you learned from me. All I turned around to you guys and said was this, and you can do this for your own businesses. It doesn't matter with your kids, with dating, with clients. All I turned around to you guys and said was this, before I start teaching communication, what benefits would you come up with to be better in the area of communication? And then I just close my mouth and I open up my ears and I wait to just listen to you start telling me stuff. Now watch this. How many realize you can talk yourself out of business? Okay. If you go into meetings, Camille goes into a meeting with a client and goes, a potential client, be like, hey, before I start sharing about myself and all the wonderful things I know I can do, what benefits did you come up with for meeting with me specifically today? Couldn't that client turn around and say, oh, there's something you're not aware of, Camille. We're friends with the Smiths down the street and they'd already sang all your praises about what you do. I've heard it all. Who can understand that can come up? Whereas what if Camille goes in that meeting and goes, let me start by telling you all about myself and all these things. Couldn't they turn around and be like, I don't even know what the Smiths saw in. Yeah. Are you guys getting the clarity here? I promise you it works in all settings, even with online dating. My clients, all right, this is in South Carolina. Client wrote, what would you say the benefits would be for you to come see me if you could share? The young lady listed off 5 things. So my client goes, I agree with everything you just shared. The right-hand side, a client of mine in Miami got a whole essay of benefits to go on a date where he said, send me the snapshot of the slide. And he wrote exact word for word with a smiley face. And the girl wrote a whole essay. I love you, Mike. All right. So this is definitely my least favorite thing to teach. And people will look at me with 4 heads sometimes being like, why is this? Here's why this is my least favorite thing to show you guys. I can't teach it. I can't teach people be authentic. Like, what I can say is this. I've seen it time and time again, and it's alien to me. A boss will say, everyone, be authentic. And then the very next breath, here's a script. Here's a script. Here's a script. There's a big disconnect in that. In my head, can you guys clearly see? Like, you either want me to be yourself. My mum even, I love this. My mum's done 3 closings in the last few months, all right? And she goes, Jamie, she goes, it took me a while, but one of the gifts, she goes, I was just being myself. I'm like, how glorious does that feel? No, because for how scripted are look, there are coaches in the realtor world, and I'm not saying they're wrong, and I'm right. I'm just saying that, like, for me, scripts, hi, I'm so-and-so with so-and-so, click. All right, and I'll just so you know, I'm not saying do not share who you are and what brokerage you're with, but no one said it has to be the first words out your mouth. And if someone's on the end of that phone saying, because I've seen it all, you've got to say it in 28 seconds. If a person's the other end and they're timing you, like, you've got bigger problems. Do you see where I'm going with this? So my goal is to teach people, don't get hung up on. In fact, I'll go one step further. This is where I probably help people out the most is, if you're sending an email, the only thing an email should be selling is the next step. It's a phone call. If you're on the phone with someone, the only thing you should be selling is either a virtual meeting or a face-to-face. If you live in Orlando, everyone's moving from New York, New Jersey, so you'll do virtual. If you're in Fayetteville, most people are localized. Or are people, probably people are moving to here? I'll share with you my philosophy. Zoom sales are easier than in-person sales. And here's why. You want to make it about them, an emotional connection. Most people you're Zooming with, they're in their homes. They get a choice on what's behind them on the walls. I'll even go as far as, if I'm doing a Zoom with someone and they've got one of those standard back, like funky backgrounds or an office or something, I say, humor me for just 2 seconds. What is actually behind you? And then what I'm doing is I'm finding out what's behind them, and here's the deal. I get to ask them questions where I can build rapport. If you Zoom with me and you're trying to sell me, I have a picture I got from Egypt, right, on my wall. You start asking me about that, I'm going to start romanticizing everything in my life and why that's important to me. But who's doing all the talking? I am. And are you showing me that you care about me? And it's not feeling like, great, thanks, Jamie, you're just trying to sell me a house in the example of real estate. I love teaching this. Kids, earmuffs, all right, because you do not want your kids learning this skill set. My daughter, when she was 8 years of age, came up to me. She goes, Dad, I want a cell phone. And I said, no, Ruby, your brother didn't get one till he was 12, all right? So that's my daughter saying, Dad, I want a cell phone. I didn't give my own daughter who can get anything from me. Eugene and Heather can attest that like she can get anything from me. Remember how I said earlier in the negotiation game with Janice, my question matters? And I said, do you like win-win situations? Yes. Instead of my daughter coming up to me and saying, Dad, I want a cell phone, what if she came up to me and goes, Dad, do you care about my safety? Do you see where I'm going with this, guy? What if she knew evoke emotion? What if I go, yes, princess, of course I care about your safety. What if she goes, why? Could you imagine, like, what? Well, I'd kill some of my bare hands. I won't mess with anyone in Fayetteville because you're all military and you can kick my ass. But if they mess with you, Ruby, all right, different story. What if she goes, Dad, how would it feel to know my whereabouts and that I'm safe at all times? What if I give her an objection? Very clever, Ruby, you're not getting a cell phone. What if she knows to go, what if she looks at me like she's looking at a closed down Waffle House, like a look of confusion, all right? And she goes, I'm a little bit confused. I'm like, why are you confused? She goes, there was this strange man at the school the other day. He was freaking my friends and I out. Who can clearly see she's going to get a cell phone? So the only time you'll ever hear me say the words I want is when I'm teaching people not to say them. But the whole world is littered with I wants. You go on anyone's social media, I just wanted to share this, or I want to do this. Understand in psychology, if you're saying the words I want, is there any emphasis whatsoever on the other person? No. So if you're curious for, Jamie, what would you say? I would do one or two plays. Either one, I would use the 4 great words of if you were me. Like, so what's it? Hey guys, if you were me, you're invited by Raoul to come and talk. Would you want to be delivering great content so everyone leaves feeling like, Raoul, thank you so much for having Jamie here? Is that a natural want? And you're going to say, yes, I didn't tell you what I want. I put you in my shoes. No one likes feeling like they're being sold. How do you get around that? You get them to see they would want to do the same thing if they were you. So if you were me, or you make it a question. And you can do this at the end of your emails or the end of a phone call. If I was a realtor in Fayetteville, I'd be like, hey, let's say I'm more than just a fancy accent. I've been told I'm very charming. And since you went into this website and looked at this property and I can help, would you at least see a benefit in having a coffee with me next week? All right. And that would be a question I'm waiting for a yes to. But what I'm not saying is I'm asking, would they see a benefit in? Do you see the difference in that? All right. How are we doing on time? Okay. I'll tell you what, I'm going to try. I'm not going to teach at least. I'm going to teach this because it's a cool play. All right, for you guys. Any of you ever heard of neurolinguistic programming? Everyone seems to love this. Any of you ever seen the movie Focus with Will Smith, Margot Robbie? Brentley, you've seen it? Okay, help me out here in the room. Do you remember there's a scene in that movie when he bets the guy, I know what number on the American football field you're going to pick, and the guy looks through the binoculars and he picks a number. Do any of you remember what number the guy picked? 55. Who said, and what's your name?
I'm Haley.
Haley, fantastic, Haley. Now, do you remember Margot Robbie gets in the limousine with him afterwards, goes, how on earth did you know he was going to pick the number 55? And he goes, we've been programming his subconscious. Everywhere he's looked last 24 hours, he's been seeing the number 55, like on the elevator, on the protest of the game, 55 roses in a vase. The song Sympathy for the Devil with the Mandarin word for 5 is woo, and it says it like 127 times in a song. I'm about to teach you neurolinguistic programming. Please only use this for the power of good with ethics, integrity, and good morals, because what I'm about to teach you can be highly manipulative in the wrong hands. My goal with teaching you guys this is this. You guys have got competition in your different businesses. I'm just teaching you a skill set that you can use that gives you a little bit of an advantage over your competitors to get business. Is that cool, fair with you guys? All right, so just like the number 55, the more if you're selling something, the more the other person hears the word buy, the more you're speaking to their subconscious to buy something. Here's how it would work. Rosa walks a buyer through a home, all right? And says, listen, before we go in here, I've listened to you. I've found the house that checks off every box. By at the end of walking around this house, you're going to love it. By the way, did you happen to notice where you shared this? By chance, did you look over here? Did you see by the kitchen where you can put your dog's food stand? Hey, by now you can see where this home is the one. What the first buy the person's hearing is buy at the end. You're telling the brain they're going to buy something. When? At the end. Then you're throwing out the other buys, and then the final buy they hear is buy now. Who loves that as a play that's a bit higher level? You know you don't learn that just in any room. Cool. All right. I don't usually teach this, but this is an important play. I focus a lot. I've studied this a lot more than most people. I don't mind admitting, as a truck driving man, American, all right? I grew up, I love the Golden Girls, all right? In fact, I've never done this on stage, but that is, that's Sophia. If that's the thing, do you know what? Look, as entrepreneurs, is it okay for you guys to be able to dress the way you want to dress and be who you want to be? No, but it should be. But how much of the world they care about like what's deemed professional? I'm the kind of person, have any of you learned anything from me today you've liked, all right, that you didn't know? So do you understand, is it more about appearance or is it more about the value of the content, all right? And if you say value of content, I'm like, you're my kind of people, all right? Golden Girls, it's a feeling, it's a vibe. People will watch the reruns of the Golden Girls, knowing full well that every episode, you've got Sophia, the mum at the bottom, always on Dorothy's case to find a man. You've got Blanche in the yellow sleeping with every man, and then you've got Betty White, Gloria's head in the clouds. Nothing changes every episode, but you'll watch every episode and you'll watch the reruns. Here's what I'm here to share with you. Every time I get in front of a Reuben, like he's heard me second time, the same things he laughed at last time, he's laughed at this time. Every time I go to a room, like, Jamie, do the mind reading thing. It tells me they've seen it a bunch of times. They can't get enough of it. Here's what I'm here to share with you as a lesson. Find your clients that vibe with you where they can't get enough of it. Think about friend relationship you have where you haven't seen a friend in years and every time you see them, you tell the same story and it never gets old. My belief is you can incorporate that into your daily life with your clients. We were talking beforehand about being at a coffee place. If someone ever says to you, what do you do? All right, humour me, you're a realtor. Jennifer, you're a realtor? All right, if I ask you the question, what do you do for a living? How do you respond? We're networking. Give me.
I help people create the life of their dreams.
Okay, look, is it okay that I be super transparent here? Would you rather me be gentle or direct?
Direct.
All right, I did that for Jake. All right. Look, I'm going to be upfront with you. I've got a girlfriend. She's beautiful. I'm deeply attracted to her. I'm about to make a comment. Jennifer, there's things that go into miscellaneous ingredients as to what you put together in the mirror, all right, with the tat and certain look to get in front of someone and say, someone says, what do you do? And you make a statement that doesn't separate you from everyone else in the world. Was that a very direct way for me to share this? But I'm trying to make it a lesson. If you get in front of someone, I've had realtors ask me, what do I do, Jamie, in a room? I'm like, what do you do? Like, I help people build generational wealth. I'm like, have you ever actually done that? She goes, no, I think it sounds very professional though. Look, I'm just gonna shoot this how I would. If I'm a realtor and someone comes up to me and goes, what do you do? The first thing out of my mouth, oh, that's an interesting question. Don't worry, I won't have to kill you as a result of telling you. They laugh. Intrigue. I've not made a statement. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. They smile. There's intrigue. And then I'm going to say this. Instead of saying I'm I'm going to say a client of mine gave me the biggest, sexiest compliment of all time the other day. Know what I've done? I've planted in their head, I have a client. I'll be like, they compared me. They said they're watching the movie Taken. You military guys will love this. They were watching the movie Taken, and they said, out of all the people that I remind them of the scene in the movie Liam Neeson. Remember when he's on the phone, he goes, I'm an expert, I've got a particular set of skills, and I will find you. My client says, I'm like that finding real estate deals in today's market. Would it at least be worth a coffee with the Liam Neeson of realtors? Now, watch this. Remember I said, I agree with you in selling the right thing? Someone asks you, what do you do? There's only one thing on your mind. How do I get them to want to meet with me? Because can we agree in a minute 15, you can't share everything and you can't say something. So it's like, how do I get this person from the place of what do you do to, is it at least? And using the words at least consciously was a slide that I don't share too much. If I ask you guys, do you have time later to talk to me? What are you all going to say? Be honest. The question is, do you have time? What most people in the world, Jennifer, help me out. No. Okay, watch how quickly I can turn a no into a yes. Jennifer, there's something I can't teach in the next 2 minutes, but it will be a game changer, life changer for you to put a lot of money in your pocket. Would that at least be worth 15 minutes? Okay. Do you see how quickly I can turn a no into a yes, just using the words at least consciously? Did I say I want to meet with her, or did I ask her, is this of benefit? I'm going to end with 2 words. I was going to teach how I get, Eugene, Heather, just a test. Did I get nice complimentary scenarios at the gym, Fit for Life, here in Fayetteville, using a play? All right. If you stick around after I've finished, I promise I will still share. I'm not, it's just for the case of, for anyone who does have to leave, I look to respect Raul's time in the meeting. But 2 quick lessons for you guys. I call this the sweetest little word on the planet. The word is yet. Consciously use the word yet when you're selling. Halfway through a meeting, just turn around to your client and say, have you heard everything you need to hear from me yet to feel confident to move forward? They might surprise you and say yes, which makes asking for the business very easy. You get to say, that's terrific. The next step is very simple. What makes the word yet sweet is if they say no to you, it doesn't end your dialogue. Have you heard everything you need to hear from me yet? No, I haven't. That's still terrific. What would be one thing specifically that you'd want to hear so you can feel that sense of confidence? The other reason word yet is sweet is your self-talk. I help a lot of people in therapy, especially when this NAR thing came about. I was like being pulled from pillar to post for realtors self-talk about getting paid, whatever the commission or the buyer's broker agreement signed. If you say, I've not reached my goals of 2024, that could be a very negative self-statement. Add the word yet on the end. See how quickly your psyche changes. You know what? I've still got a couple of weeks, all right, that I can get this done. And then I'll finish just with the most powerful word on the planet in sales, all right? You've got to consciously use this word. My whole business is built around this word. The word is believe, believe. You have to consciously use the word believe externally to another person. People will do what they believe, always. They will go to a place of worship every week of their life based on what they believe. People will spend a fortune to go to college based on what they believe. So you have to consciously ask someone, do you believe? And if you throw out, do you believe, how they answer you will determine how easy it is for you to ask for the business. Watch this. How many of you believe, I know I've got Mike, Yesenia, and Kevin here and Camille as clients. How many of you actually believe that if you had my help, you would indeed get more sales, like Mike said earlier? Raise your hand if you actually believe that. And keep your hand up, don't, all right? Okay, so what action, so for Jake's and rules, now my cell phone number's there, what action should you guys take?
Take a picture of it.
You could do that, but
Sorry, I already have your number. I could call you.
you could call me. I agree with you, all right? Like, do you see? Okay, so I get to say I agree with you. And then here's what happens. My phone starts blowing up with random text messages from numbers that I've not seen before. And here's the deal. Think about this. And this is a lesson for Mike, which he's seen me do. All right. Most speakers, QR code. Yeah, great. Give them a bunch of actions that they have to do, which, don't get me wrong, has its psychology behind it. The warmest form, you want to always be selling the warmest form of correspondence that you possibly can when you're getting in front of people. Does that make sense as a lesson? So if you're ever giving a talk, all right, you either want people approaching you or you want people texting you, because if they text you, you now have permission ability to reach out back to them. I'm kind of telling you what I'm doing as I'm doing it so you can see where you can do that for yourself. Is that a class act? All right, to do that? Great. Thank you very much. All right, if you have any questions or you're facing any challenges, I am absolutely, if you want to ask in front of the room, I'm happy to share with abundance. Roel, thank you for having me. Cheers. Oh, actually, may I just have permission? I'm doing the golden rule. Do I have your permission to share something with you guys? I was sharing with Ruben earlier. I love my I love all my clients who are former military. All right, and they're all a lot of them. Well, not all of them, but some of them are in this room. I'm looking to do something particularly special. I used to only bring in very limited, by design, like one-to-one clients. This year it was, can I meet 50 people to pay me X amount of dollars and prove that I can work within a certain time frame in life. Next year it's how do I leave a legacy for 100,000 people, in particular veterans from the military. Jake and I had a very direct conversation where he agreed that it's the harsh realities when you get out of the military, it's the situations that you face. I like the idea of helping those people, all right? Here's what I've done. I've created a legacy platform. It's evolving. Imagine it as an iPhone 1 today, but it's going to keep evolving and getting better. Anyone who's former military, there's no like, oh, you have to do it today. Like anytime the sun shines in your life and you've had a rough call or something, instead of it being $2,497, which is going to be for anyone who finds me alternatively, anyone military, active, serving, veteran, $597 as a one-time investment to get me for an entire lifetime for the situations that they face. All right. Is that a nice, I'd like to believe that's a gift. I'm trying to do it as a gift-like scenario. I still am bringing on smiley face clients is what I call it. But that's always very, very minimal. Next year's 30 people, just to share that. But my main thing, I'm happy to have your permission to share. And that's because it is getting filmed. I am doing everything in my power. And Ruben can just attest with a yes, I'm sure. I don't chase. I haven't chased. I haven't called Ruben up. I am going to start attacking this life with regards to leaving a legacy for 100,000 people. It won't happen without me sharing that stuff. Anyone's watched me before, have I ever shared anything I'm doing business-wise to help people in a talk? They've watched me before. That's not a play that I've ever done. I'm just I've got camera people filming this and I'm looking to be as authentic as I can to help good people. Is that fair? Okay, cool. Thank you. Is this when people ask questions if they have them?
Yeah,
or?
that's exactly it, Jamie.
Okay.
If anybody's got any questions, now's
Thank
the
you.
time.
Cheers.